End of winter, 1956. A bedroom at the end of a hallway with the door closed. A woman sitting on the edge of the mattress in a cotton slip, pressing a cold washcloth against a bruise the size of a man's fist. Her children asleep in the next room. The neighbors will be over for coffee at 9. She reaches for the foundation. These are 15 things no woman in America was supposed to mention out loud during the 1950s. Every one of them was real. Most of them your mother carried to her grave without saying a word. Now, before we dive in, tap that subscribe button. You will not want to miss what is coming next. Number 15. The pill that fixed everything. By 1957, over 36 million prescriptions had been filled for a little white tablet called Miltown. It was the first blockbuster tranquilizer in American history. Most of those prescriptions went to women. Doctors prescribed it for headaches, insomnia, tension, even childhood bedwetting. Milton Berle promoted it on national television, calling himself Uncle Miltown, like it was a joke. Housewives, frustrated by lives that seemed to consist of nothing but chores and childcare, were told this pill would fix everything. It did not. Coming off Miltown brought convulsions, hallucinations, and tremors. By 1963, Betty Friedan used the image of the tranquilized housewife as fuel for the feminine mystique. The same doctor who wrote the prescription would later call her an addict. She never had a chance. Nobody asked why she needed the pill in the first place. The answer would have indicted every kitchen, every nursery, and every husband who never once noticed. But long before any doctor reached for a prescription pad, there was something a woman had to manage every single month. Something no one would even name out loud. Number 14. The belt she wore in silence. Every month, a woman strapped on an elastic belt with metal clips and fastened a thick cotton pad between her legs. No adhesive, no comfort, no conversation. The Kotex Wonderform belt came in a small purple box. Modus, the rival brand, sold boxes designed to look like gift packages so a woman could carry one through the store without a soul knowing. The self-adhesive pad would not appear until the early 1970s. For every woman in the 1950s, the belt was not one option among several. It was the only option. Mothers handed their daughters a belt, a box, and a pamphlet from the school nurse. That was the entire education. She carried that belt in silence because every woman before her had done the same. Girls entered womanhood already trained to believe that their own bodies were something shameful, something best managed behind a locked door. The conversation that should have happened never did. The silence around the body did not end with menstruation, when a woman gave birth and something went terribly wrong inside her mind. The silence only grew louder. Number 13. The darkness after the baby. There was no name for it. A new mother who could not stop crying, who stared at walls for hours, who recoiled from her own infant, was told she had a nervous condition. The treatment was electroshock therapy. In 1951, a 20-year-old woman in Ontario gave birth and fell apart. She was sent to a psychiatric hospital. Her husband drove 4 hours every weekend to visit. After nearly a year, she was pronounced cured and released. Ladies' Home Journal ran a piece on something called Third Day Blues in 1952. It was the first time the subject appeared in a major American magazine. The advice was simple: it will pass. Medical authorities blamed women who suffered after childbirth for their own distress. The answer was never to question motherhood itself. It was always to fix the mother. She was not treated. She was removed. The baby she carried for 9 months became evidence against her, proof that something inside her was broken beyond repair. At least the new mother had a diagnosis, however brutal the response. The woman going through the change had nothing, not a word, not a pill, not even permission to say she was suffering. Number 12. The change nobody spoke of. They called it the change of life. Hot flashes at the kitchen table in July, sweating through a cotton house dress with company in the next room. Insomnia that lasted for weeks. Premarin had arrived in 1942, but most family doctors never mentioned hormone treatment to their female patients. The word menopause barely appeared in women's magazines. In earlier decades, physicians had institutionalized women for something called climacteric insanity. By the 50s, the formal diagnosis was gone. The shame was not. She was expected to set the table and smile through it. Her own husband often had no idea what was happening. She suffered in a house full of people, and not one of them thought to ask. Some women held on through the change with nothing but willpower. Others found something to take the edge off. Not a pill this time. A bottle. Number 11. The bottle behind the bleach. A fifth of gin behind the Clorox under the kitchen sink. Vodka in the back of the linen closet because it left no smell on the breath. Official statistics counted 850,000 female alcoholics in the United States. Workers in the field said the true number was many times higher. One recovered woman told a counselor that the neighbors never knew her bedroom floor was Skid Row. Alcoholics Anonymous was overwhelmingly male. A woman who walked into a meeting was usually the only woman in the room. A drunk husband was a problem. A drunk mother was an abomination. That double standard kept her trapped. And the shame kept her pouring. She drank to disappear. And the cruelest part was that it worked. Nobody in her life noticed she was vanishing right in front of them. 5 problems. 5 kinds of silence. Not one of them appears in any sitcom, any Sears catalog, any church bulletin from that decade. These were the invisible costs of being the person who held everything together. What follows is what happened when that silence reached into the most private rooms of the house. Number 10. The duty that had no discussion. A wife was expected to be available to her husband, whether she wanted to be or not. There was no language for refusal. Marriage manuals advised women to be responsive. That was the full extent of the guidance. Marital rape was not recognized as a crime in the United States. It would not become illegal in all 50 states until 1993. She could not refuse. She could only endure. She did not have a right to her own body in the eyes of the law, and in the eyes of the culture, she did not even have the words. Her silence in the bedroom was not consent. It was survival. She learned to leave her body the way soldiers learn to leave a battlefield. Number 9. The flour canister bank. A married woman could not open a bank account without her husband's signature. She could not get a credit card in her own name. If she wanted money that was truly hers, she hid it. Folded bills inside the flour canister. Quarters in a coffee can behind the preserves. Dollar bills safety pinned inside the lining of a winter coat. The Equal Credit Opportunity Act did not pass until 1974. If he drank the money, gambled it, or simply left, she had nothing. That hidden money was not savings. It was an escape fund. Every woman who kept one knew exactly what it was for. Some of those flour canisters held 20 years of nickels and dimes. 20 years of planning for a door she might never walk through. She could not control her money. In many cases, she could not even control whether she became pregnant. Number 8. Before the pill. The birth control pill was not approved until 1960. Before that, a woman's options were unreliable, humiliating, or dangerous. Many doctors refused to prescribe diaphragms, especially for unmarried women. Condoms were sold only to men. The rhythm method failed regularly. Lysol disinfectant was marketed in coded language as a feminine hygiene solution. Every woman who read that advertisement understood what it really meant. The average American woman in 1955 had 3.7 children. Many had more than they could feed. For the truly desperate, there were whispered addresses, back rooms, kitchen tables. She could not prevent it. She could not end it safely. And once the baby arrived, she could not leave the marriage that made her desperate. Every pregnancy was a gamble with her life, and the odds were set by men who would never carry the consequences inside their own bodies. When a pregnancy ended not by choice but by nature, what followed was often just as lonely. Number 7. The baby they never mentioned. Miscarriage and stillbirth were common. They were also unspeakable. A woman who lost a pregnancy was expected to recover quickly, grieve privately, and try again. No counseling, no memorial. In some hospitals, a stillborn baby was taken away before the mother could hold it. There was no death certificate for a miscarriage before 20 weeks. No record that the child had ever existed. She came home to the same kitchen and the same children. She answered the phone and said she was fine. A loss with no name is a loss you carry alone. That grief lived inside her for decades, not because she was weak, because no one gave it a place to exist. Some women kept a single blanket or a tiny cap hidden in a drawer, the only proof that someone real had been loved and lost. Number 6. The diet pill that never slept. Doctors routinely prescribed amphetamines for weight loss, Dexedrine, Benzedrine, Disoxin. The pills were speed, and millions of women were taking them. She swallowed one with her morning coffee and was scrubbing baseboards at midnight. Then came the cycle no one warned her about. Amphetamines in the morning to go up, barbiturates at night to come down, day after day. These were not drugs from a back alley. They came from the family physician in a labeled bottle with a smile across the counter. When she got hooked, it was called her weakness, never the prescription. She trusted her doctor with her life. He handed her an addiction wrapped in a white coat and a reassuring nod, and walked away clean. 10 problems deep, and we have not yet reached the ones that left marks on the body. What comes next struck at the very thing her reputation was built on, her body, her worth, and the fiction that she controlled either one. Number 5. The surgery nobody saw. When a woman found a lump, the standard procedure was the Halsted radical mastectomy. The entire breast was removed. The chest wall muscle was taken. The lymph nodes under the arm were removed. William Halsted developed the operation in the 1890s. It remained standard care well into the 1970s, long after evidence suggested less radical procedures could produce comparable survival rates. A woman often went into surgery not knowing whether she would come out whole. The biopsy and the mastectomy were performed under the same anesthesia. She signed a consent form, giving the surgeon permission to decide while she was unconscious. Afterward, she was fitted with a prosthetic form, sold by mail order for discretion. The word cancer itself was whispered. Neighbors said a long illness, no pink ribbons, no awareness walks. The scar ran from her collarbone to her lowest rib. She wore it under her clothes for the rest of her life. She dressed in the dark. She turned away from mirrors. A body she once trusted had become something she was taught to hide. Number 4. The blame she carried alone. When a couple could not conceive, the fault was assumed to be hers. Her husband was rarely tested. She endured the Rubin test, carbon dioxide forced through the fallopian tubes without anesthesia, or a hysterosalpingogram. iodine dye injected through the cervix. Her husband gave no sample. No one checked his count. The assumption was simple: she was defective. In a decade that told women their only purpose was motherhood, infertility was not a diagnosis. It was a verdict. She served that sentence alone while every woman on her block pushed a stroller past her window. Church friends whispered that maybe God had a reason. That reason always pointed back to her, as though her empty arms were punishment for something only heaven understood. Number 3, the problem that had no name. She had a house, a car, a washing machine, and 2 children. She also had a suffocating emptiness that no appliance could fix. Betty Friedan would not name it until 1963. In the 50s, it had no name at all. 750 square feet of linoleum and formica. Every house on the block identical. Coffee with the same 3 neighbors every Tuesday. Children at school from 8 to 3. Husband gone from 7 to 6. She ironed. She vacuumed. She set the table and waited. Today on social media, millions of young women romanticize the 50s housewife. They never show the woman standing at the kitchen window at 2 in the afternoon, wondering if this was all there would ever be. The suburb was supposed to be the American dream. For millions of women, it was the American silence. She had everything the magazines promised her, and still she felt like she was disappearing one perfectly folded towel at a time. When a woman's sadness deepened past what coffee could reach, the answer was not treatment. It was removal. Number 2, sent away for having feelings. When a woman's unhappiness became visible, her husband and her doctor could have her committed. No crime required, no hearing, no appeal. Committal laws in most states allowed a husband and 1 physician to sign a woman into an institution without her consent. Treatment included insulin shock therapy and electroconvulsive therapy without anesthesia. Some women were committed for refusing housework. Others were committed for expressing opinions their husbands found unreasonable. Some never came home. In 1955, a woman who cried too much could be locked away by the 2 men closest to her. The asylum was the final wall. The message was always the same. Your feelings are the problem. The world that caused them is not. The women who survived those wards came home quieter than before. That was the point. Silence was the only cure they were ever offered. Every item on this list lived behind the same closed door. And behind that door, for more women than anyone ever counted, there was one final secret. Number 1. What happened when he closed the door? She was hit. And there was nowhere to go. The first domestic violence shelter in the United States, Haven House in Pasadena, did not open until 1964. The Violence Against Women Act did not become law until 1994. Police routinely dismissed violence in the home as a private family matter. Training manuals discouraged officers from making arrests. A study in Chicago found that 1 in 8 married women had been severely beaten at least once. Women who sought help from their ministers were told to be more obedient. Pray harder. Today, there are more than 1,500 domestic violence shelters across this country. In 1955, there were none, not one. She stayed, not because she was weak, because every exit was sealed. No money, no credit, no shelter, no legal protection. No one who would believe her word over his. The bruises healed. The silence did not. Her children watched from the hallway. They learned that love looked like this. And decades later, some of them repeated the only lesson they were ever taught. 15 problems. Not one required a modern solution. They required one thing the entire decade refused to give: a witness. Somewhere tonight, a woman in her 80s is sitting in a kitchen that looks nothing like the one she grew up in. The belt is gone. The pills have different names. The shelter exists. The bank account is hers. But the memories are still there, folded tight, stored in a place no one has ever asked to see. She handled it. They all did, not because they were built for suffering, because no one gave them another option. If you want more forgotten wisdom from the generations who came before us, the next video is waiting for you right now.